Adam Athlete's Larry Sorensen here, and today I'm going to talk with Analia Voss and find out what makes her an autumn athlete that's not done yet. Before we get started, remember if you enjoy our content, please like, subscribe, and ding that bell for notifications. Okay, let's begin. Analia, thanks so much for joining us today. Why don't you start us off with a brief introduction of yourself?
Sure, Larry. Thank you for having me. My name is Analia Voss. I'm 48 years old. I'm originally from Argentina, but I have been in Texas for 22 years. Currently, I race mountain bikes in the Cal 140 to 49. I'm the proud state champion. And before I raced 15 years Ironman, I live here with my husband and my two dogs.
Well, awesome. Great to meet you. So,
Thanks.
we're going to get a little bit more into what you're doing currently, but tell us a little bit about your athletic background.
I like to use myself as an example of somebody that have absolutely no athletic background. I started doing a sport at 32 years old. Before that, we couldn't afford it where I come from. It's not something that you do in school or at the college level. So at 32 years old, I was watching the TV with my husband in 2010. And I saw this amazing woman riding her bicycle in Hawaii. And I told my husband out of nowhere, I'm going to do that. That is doable. He, of course, laughed because I have no athletic background. He pointed out that was for crazy people because that was the Ironman World Championship in Kona. And I said, I'm going to do that. I'm not going to do it next year. I'm going to do it in 2012. And that was the beginning of the most amazing adventure that I'm still living in.
So, you had no athletic background whatsoever, and then just decided to go full force into it. So once you started going, tell us a little bit about how you did it, what maybe inspired you to do it, and then what activities you got into.
It was the very end of 2012. It was the special edition of NBC because back then you couldn't see the championship live. So you had to wait for Christmas to watch Kona. So my husband was watching it, and I saw this amazing woman like going, riding her bike super hard. And then I realized it was Chrissy Willington, a 13-time Ironman winner, many times Ironman champion, which I was fortunate enough to meet her right before I did my first Ironman. I met her here in Austin. She was doing her book signing. And anyway, I saw it. I said it out of nowhere, but I knew I had it in me. I would have to say, where I come from Argentina, we are big believers of ourselves. And I always tell people, you can't go around life not betting on yourself. You can't bet against you. So even if you maybe fail, you have to have something in you. You have to believe in yourself. So I knew I could do it. Don't ask me why, but I felt that I could do it. So the very next day, I set myself to find a triathlon coach, a bike. I mean, I had nothing. I have absolutely nothing. So I met this amazing lady. Her name is Jen Rolon. She coached me for many, many Ironmans, and then Brandon Marsh did after. And I told her I needed an Ironman coach. And I said, I don't know how to swim, but I think she thought I said I couldn't swim very well. She agreed to coach me. And the very first time we met at the pool, she almost had a heart attack because she said, Anna, you just can't swim. And I said, it's exactly what I said. I can't swim. And she said, well, maybe this year we do a little indoor triathlon. It's a popular one here in San Antonio, Texas. And I said, oh no, Jen, I already paid for my first 70.3. It's going to be my first triathlon. And she opened her eyes. She was never negative, and she said, Anna, you will have to swim so much the next 8 months. If not, you're going to drown. And I said, no problem. And Larry, believe me, I have to swim so much, so many times a week. It took forever. But the day came in October. I did a 70.3 that is no longer around. It's the one Longhorn in Austin. And there I went. My husband made eye contact with me all the way till he couldn't see me in the water anymore because he saw I was going to drown in there. But I finished and I was so excited. And my husband said, okay, can you do this all over again? And I said, yes, this is doable. I can do this. And I never looked back. We trained other, I think, 11 months. And in 2012, I did my first Ironman, it was Ironman Arizona.
And so you did quite a few of those over the next few
Oh,
years. And then tell
yes.
us kind of about some highlights and accomplishments during that triathlon period.
Sure. I think officially I did 12, but I trained for 15. It's just those 3 there through the COVID times. They were canceled 3 days before the Ironman, a week before the Ironman. So I still kept training, but those never happened. So yes, I actually right away we realized that although I didn't have any background in athletics, I was a diesel engine. I could go long and long and I was better and better at the back end of the race. So I started going faster and faster and faster. The best I ever done, it was I think 11 in Ironman Arizona, and that gave me like the all world athlete. And I think if I kept racing, I just got sick in 2019, so I had to stop racing Ironmans. My last one was in 2021. But I think if I could keep going, I will definitely get a spot to go to Kona, especially when we had the championships separated from men and women. Right now, it's just very hard for women age group. We're only at 20%, so sometimes it's just one spot. So even if you get to the podium, it's kind of hard
Yeah.
uh, to go to Kona. But I mean, it was fantastic. I managed to do amazing Ironmans, and I was very proud to become an over athlete for them. And I was part of their foundation for some time. So
So give us an idea. You said you had to swim a lot just to learn how to swim, but kind of
yes.
give us, once you really got into it and you were being successful with your Ironmans, kind of give us an idea of maybe a week of training. How did you fit it all in?
Well, we fit it really. I fit it all in starting like at 4:30 in the morning, because we still have full time jobs. So by 5, you're at the pool. I did 3 times a week. I did my swims, and then usually 2 of those swims will have a run after, and then I bike 3 times a week, having my longer workouts on Saturday. And I will say maybe the first 2 years I did my long bike rides outside, but I was hit by a vehicle. And after that, I never went back outside. So I did all the training indoor for cycling. So I spent countless hours sitting on my Wahoo trainer.
Oh, that's
I mean, countless hours. And then the last 3 years, I got into Swift. So that made it a little more entertaining. And I think I'm level, whatever, 42, 44 in Swift. Yeah, I think actually at the back end of Ironman, those last 3 or 4 years, it made it much more entertaining because after so many years, 12, 15 years of sitting on your trainer over and over, it's very hard to motivate yourself. It's very overwhelming for the mind. So Swift brought a whole new thing for an endurance athlete when you have to, train indoor. And I did it mostly for safety.
yeah.
Because when you have like a bad interaction once, it's just very hard to go out. And the very few times I went out to ride my bike, and even now it will be like in Colorado when we go and train up there, or right before the race to make sure my bicycle setup was just right.
Okay, so now you went from the Ironman to a totally different type of cycling over the last couple of years. So tell us what that is, what you're doing, and fill us in on kind of some of your successes so far in this new venture.
Yes, so as I mentioned before, in 2019, after I did an Ironman Arizona, I came back super sick, and it was something very simple. It was a sinus infection, and but nobody realized it was that. So that sent me on a 16 months trying to figure it out why I was so sick, and I went to all kind of doctors and I did all kind of exams and nobody could figure it out what it was until I went to this guy and the guy said, you have a sinus infection. But at the time that was caught, it was a little bit late for part of my system. So it made swimming quite complicated because of the drainage, how we drain. So it was becoming very challenging to train, and it took all the happiness out of trying to do Ironman. I just couldn't perform. I was super struggling. So in 2021, I decided to do my last Ironman, which was Ironman Arizona, the way I started. And but I really didn't know what to do next, because after you do something for 15 to 20 hours a week, it's quite overwhelming having all that time back and figure it out. What is next? What is my next chapter? I'm my way into my 40s now. How am I going to stay fit? So my husband, which he loves mountain bike, he said, just come on mountain bike with me. And my first thought was like, no way. I don't want to get hurt. It's what you hear from everybody. I don't want to get hurt. I don't want scratches. And he said, just come with me, because in 4 days, it's this huge event in Arkansas, Bentonville, and we can go and ride our mountain bikes. And I went with him, and I can honestly say, changed my life completely. First, I think I had a craving to be back in nature after all those years of indoor training, but also was the first time in, like, I would say 12 years, that I switched my mind off. I just was riding my bicycle, pure joy, only focus on not hitting the tree or the roots or the rocks. I wasn't thinking about my problems. I wasn't thinking how much more I had to go, or the food intake or nutrition. I was just there, like if I was a little kid riding my bicycle. And I don't know. I mean, it was the most amazing experience, and I felt so good after I did it. And I told my husband, "This is it. This is what I'm going to do, mountain bike," and I love it. And I always tell people, this is more than for your physical health. It helps so much your mental health, because it requires so much focus on what you're doing that you can really, it's like active meditation. You can think about anything else, and if you do, you hit the tree. So you self-correct quite fast. And I was like, I have to spread the word. I mean, I'm sure it's other women just like me out there that can benefit for, being on riding the trails and riding their bicycles. And so the first thing we did is I went to a race with him. And when I show up to race, it was only 7 of us in my age group. And I thought, I mean, this is crazy. I mean, I was accustomed to be 20% of the race, but this was way less. And I'm thinking, where are all the other women? And I realized that it's not a lot of women into mountain biking. And I thought, I need to do something. I just need to spread the word about how good mountain biking is. And especially when you get kind of to my age, that perhaps running doesn't come as easy anymore. And I was like, I mean, I see women doing gravel. I mean, if you fall on gravel, it's pretty hard. So I was like, mountain biking, I mean, the whole goal is not to fall. And if you take a tumble, well, clean yourself and keep going. I always tell women, you have gone through childbirth. This is nothing like that. So you can definitely mountain bike. And the whole goal is just to take it easy and don't hit the trees or anything. So that is kind of how I started my community, which is Women Empowerment Cycling, and just trying to get women to come and ride the bicycle with me. And I always tell them, sometimes it's hard doing it with your husband or your dad if they are way more advanced. But if you do it with me, I ride at your same pace. We do it together. I show you how I do it. So you can, copy me. You can take my lines, and we just have fun, and we get to talk about all kind of things. And so I really cater to all women, but especially women my age that are looking for the next chapter. Perhaps they're empty nesters now, that they just want to get back in nature, get some fitness, clear their minds. So it's kind of what I do now, and I host these amazing events for ladies, and I just love it. And a lot of great things happen through that. Last year I became a Trek ambassador. So I was super thankful to Trek. They saw my enthusiasm about riding bicycles and also doing all the work in the community. So they invested in me. They gave me a beautiful super caliber to ride. So I use their bikes to race, and they support my events. They send amazing mechanics to the events. So So, I mean, it has been an amazing experience, and I have tons of companies that help me to put these races, these events for women together, that everybody's welcome, all levels are welcome. We just go out there and we just ride the course and have fun.
So is there some place, someone who's watching this that might want to get involved? Can they find that out on the web somewhere? Tell us where we could find that.
You can go to womenempowermentcycling.com and all the information is there. I usually host, because this is like a one women operation. So I try to host 3 or 4 a year, and I'm super thankful that here in Texas we have a racing association, TIMBRA, Texas Mountain Bike Racing Association. So they allow me to do this the weekend of their races. So what I do is the day before the race, we do this, we call it the women's only mountain bike pre-ride. So we gather all the women together and we just take the trail. And many women are racing the other day, but a lot of women just come to do this with other women to learn about that particular ranch or park that perhaps on their own they will have never done it. And it's easy, if you're racing the next day, you're not going to do a hard because you're saving your legs for the next day. And if you don't have a lot of experience, we just take it nice and easy. We go with you, we enjoy the day out, and then I host like a little social media with the help of my husband. So we bring amazing food, and through the years, through Ironman and now mountain biking, I have the pleasure to work with lots of companies, and they all send me all kind of goodies and athletic performance products and items for raffles. So I have a great event for the ladies. I want them to feel that they are very well taken care of, that they are special, that this is for them, that we are not the extra riders.
How do you train for this compared to obviously the long, grueling hours of the triathlon?
The difference between then and now is then it was all about performance and go faster and faster and faster. Now it's all about well-being and joy. I'm in a different time of my life. If I want to bike 5 days in a row, it's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to ride 5 days in a row. I don't have to run today, even if I don't want to run today. And also it's quite self-limited. Let's say I want to ride today and I want to ride tomorrow, and I went hard both days. Well, the third day I need a day off, or I need to take it easy. So I just left all the schedule and all that behind, and now I brought a lot of more joy to what I'm doing. Like, I'm doing it truly for like wellness, for my mental health, and I am super excited. I don't have to ride my bike. I want to ride my bike.
Now, do you do any cross training besides the bike riding, like weight training or anything like that?
Yes, I do. And I ran, like, for example, a few weeks ago, it was our first local ultra race. I only did a 25K, but even that at my old age, I managed to get the overall female win. So I try to do other things because I do love running. It's just running doesn't love me back as much anymore.
We know you train a lot and we know you're active. We want to know how you fuel yourself to do that. So tell us a little bit about how you eat, what you eat, and if maybe you throw a cheat meal in now and again. How do you approach your diet and nutrition?
I really don't have a cheat meal. I eat whatever I want. If anything, I treat myself, but I don't have a cheat meal because I think that is like, okay, if it's a cheat meal, then you have to eat a lot, or you're waiting for this day to eat everything you want. I grew up with an Italian family, so I am accustomed to eat really good food done from scratch. I'm not afraid of any group of food. I eat them all. So I think and also I'm mindful that I cannot be eating pasta every single day. I try to eat wholesome food, organic food. I like to know the mother and the father of whatever I'm eating. I don't want to eat things that are highly processed. But I eat bread and I eat pasta and I eat a croissant. I just think everything also is in the quality. I was telling somebody else the other day, the bread I eat, it has 3 ingredients. I grew up eating a bread with 3 ingredients. The one right there has 29. Well, I don't want a bread that has 29 ingredients. So I eat everything. my diet is super, I have a lot of variety. And but when I am training, even now, I make sure I have good nutrition, and a lot of that is I have been using ketones forever. And the older I get, I do see the difference. I take ketone IQs, and I love them. I started taking it when they were impossible to take because the taste was so bad. And now they're much better because now you can buy it everywhere. And I love it, and I use the protocol for all my Ironmans, and I do it for racing, and I do that and gels. So I still am very keen into my racing nutrition.
At 48, you've transitioned into a new sport, still training hard, but having more fun. All that good stuff is happening. So what would you say is really motivating you to push forward and continue driving with athletics?
I think for me, it's very important not just to tell myself, but to show others that you can be an ordinary person, but still live an extraordinary life. And the way I live my extraordinary life is through these adventures of, running, biking, cycling, that you don't have to be amazing. You don't have to be the best of the best. You can be average at best and still do all these sports. And that especially for women. Women believe that if they're not great, they shouldn't do it. And men don't think that way. I see it a lot on the trails. Women are always like, apologize. I'm sorry, I'm so slow. Sorry, I couldn't climb fast. You don't see any guy doing that. They're having fun with the other guys, and they go and you pass them and say, hey, have a good one. So that is for me what it gets me out there. I just want to enjoy. I'm very grateful that my body can still do all these things. Yes, maybe it's slower than before. Maybe I don't recover as good. And also I want to share with others, that it really is nothing extraordinary about me. Average at best, but you can still have a very fulfilled athletic life.
All right. So if you're going to encompass all of your secret sauce to health and fitness and bottle it, what would the ingredients to that recipe be?
Nice and easy, that's it. Like you pace yourself, when you pace yourself, you win the race. Mm-hmm. I think that, I always tell people that nice and easy, that's it. Pick your pace and climb to the top of the hill.
Well, Analia, I want to say thank you so much for joining us today. Let us know what makes you an autumn athlete that's not done yet. I'd like to wrap up today by giving you the floor to just give us some final thoughts.
Nothing is given, that you have to stop procrastinating and just take the first step forward. Maybe it's the first step to running, to walking, to jogging, to ride your bike, indoor, outdoor, but just get out there, get healthy. It's just not for your physical health, but also for your mental health.
Well, there you go, folks. Analia Voss. She is definitely an autumn athlete that's not done yet. Remember, keep moving, set your own goals, and train hard to achieve them. Thanks so much for watching, and we will see you next time.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.